Hey everybody, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your AMC production manager, Dennis Sen.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of AMC Movie Talk. Last night I went with Schnepp, Alicia, Maud, and one of our production guys, Jonathan, to watch Kingsman, and we shot a spoiler review after, so you guys can check that out. That should be up later today.
Also here is the managing editor for IamRogue.com, Jamie Philbrick.
All right, I feel like a minor league baseball player pulled up to the major leagues. I'm back. Good to be here.
And AMC's Miss Mary Jetikin.
Hey guys, last night I went to see Hot Tub 2.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I will say that I did not enjoy it. Double negative.
Yes.
Good enough. That'll work.
All right, while Shazam isn't coming out until April 5th, 2019, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was playing the antagonist Black Adam, recently talked about the upcoming movie in an interview with Total Film, saying the following: "It was all agreed that the worlds are all interconnected. One day you will see Black Adam go at it with Superman or Batman or any of the DC characters. But that said, there's a great independence to Black Adam from the DC world, allowing us to inject not only viciousness, but also winking humor." Dennis, what do you make of The Rock's quotes?
Well, I'm hoping he's right, because I want to see Shazam and Black Adam in part of this DC universe. I want to see maybe Shazam or Black Adam fight Superman with maybe Batman helping out. You know, I'm a big fan of Kingdom Come, that kind of Elseworlds graphic novel, and I'm hoping for that showdown one day. And hopefully this kills, and maybe temporarily kills all that talk about Shazam not being part of the DC universe, because that one producer had come out earlier on and said, oh, it's going to be a separate thing, and you know, it doesn't make any sense for this movie not to be part of it. Jamie, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I was always very suspicious of that when it came out, because it doesn't make any sense. You know, DC's trying to get all their ducks in a row, and you know, Shazam is, or Captain Marvel, but I don't want to confuse everyone with the Captain Marvel, who should be Miss Marvel, not Captain Marvel. But anyway, Shazam, Captain Marvel. You know, everything that they're doing, that DC's doing right now in film and in animation and in everything that they're doing outside of comics is geared towards 52, what they've been doing with the comics. It's all based on that. Shazam's a huge part of the DC world in 52 and a big part of the Justice League. So to have him separated never really made any sense to me. So I believe that he probably will, you know, we will see that someday. We will see part of that. I can't imagine the Shazam movie not being part of the DC lineup, the official DC lineup. So, but I also want to say that I think they need to really quickly cast a Shazam.
Yes.
Because the problem with The Rock, which is great, is the fact that he's so vocal, he's so excited about it, he's talking about it. It's sounding like this is a Black Adam movie and not a Shazam movie. And I get it that he will make a great he could have been Shazam very easily, but he'll make a great Black Adam. I think it's a good casting choice. But we need to hear who the Shazam's going to be and get that kind of lined up, because the more he just goes out there talking about Black Adam, this is a Black Adam film.
Right.
Mir?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I also feel like, you know, Marvel has about 10 years on DC when it comes to filmmaking and creating a world and a brand. And one of the things Marvel does really well is create films that feel unique, but that are still part of the Marvel universe and that still feel like Marvel movies. And what qualifies or quantifies a Marvel movie we could talk about for a whole other show. But they are good at making, you know, standalone films, particularly post-Guardians. And I feel like what he said is actually encouraging, because it means that DC is kind of watching what Marvel is doing and saying, oh, we do have to create films that stand alone and that have their own feeling and their own vibe, but that still fit in with the DC universe. I think it would be a huge mistake to make a Shazam movie that doesn't fit in, at least aesthetically, or at least in some way where you watch it and you're like, oh, there is a cohesive thread between all these films that are coming out. And I think it's smart. I think they have some catch up to do, but I also think they need to kind of take their time and really establish the brand. So
yeah, and the other thing I just want to say is that, and I've said this before, what I think a Shazam movie should be is it's Harry Potter. I mean, it's a boy who gets a magical spell that turns him into a superhero. I mean, that's Harry Potter with a superhero. And so I think I would love to see them go in that direction, but I think there's a way you can do that and have it be independent and different, but still fit in long term with the game plan of the DC films.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to fit in with the tone that they're trying to set right now with DC.
Well, that with the serious DC.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
the no joke.
He did
But
say
you
like
could do,
wicked
you could
humor.
do listen, there are some serious Harry Potter movies. So
Yeah.
you could do what I'm saying. I mean, listen, even if it's serious, at the end of the day, it's a kid who gets a magic spell to become a superhero. That tone is the tone it is. You can't make it any other tone. So I agree with you, it's different than DC, but I think there's a way you can fit them all together.
I hope so.
Yeah, well, you brought up a good point about The Rock kind of bringing Black Adam as overshadowing Shazam. They need to cast that soon. You know, maybe because I just watched the trailer for The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe Armie Hammer could play Shazam.
Interesting.
What about you guys? Who do you think should play
didn't even think of
Shazam?
that.
I honestly don't know, and here's the bigger problem. You need someone who can go toe-to-toe with The Rock.
Yeah, you need a huge personality.
And
I don't know if that's
and
Armie
also
Hammer.
the Clark Kent or Bruce Wayne of, Shazam, Billy Batson, that's a 10-year-old kid. So half the movie is got to be a 10-year-old kid who can carry the film.
Jaden Lieberher. I want him for
then
everything.
a guy who's big enough to go toe-to-toe with The Rock and who you're going to root for over The Rock.
That's
tough.
hard, that's hard.
Because The Rock is so likable. That's tough.
That's why you need Jaden Lieberher from St. Vincent, because he's adorable and likable and a great actor.
Yeah. He'd be good for the kid.
I think he would be
Sure.
good.
Yeah. Or I like the kid on Gotham, too.
Okay. Well, I don't want to talk about Gotham.
Okay, all right. Oh, wow, I touched on a bad subject with Dennis.
All right, what's next?
Fox has released the first trailer for Hitman Agent 47, starring Rupert Friend, who comes from Showtime's hit drama thriller TV series Homeland. The movie is the second attempt at turning the popular video game series into a hit movie franchise, with the first attempt being back in 2007 starring Timothy Olyphant. The movie centers around Agent 47, played by Friend, who is a genetically engineered assassin who goes up against an evil megacorporation set on creating an army of killers. Hitman Agent 47 comes to AMC theaters on August 28th. Mary, what did you think about the trailer?
Well, certainly not original. Was my first reaction. That said, it's well done. It's well executed. It's a straight up and down action thriller. It has the slick look and feel. It has the European car chases with the fancy car. But I don't really feel like I'm seeing anything new. And, it had the same problem for me in terms of a trailer that the Equalizer trailers had, where it's like, here is the entire plot. You're welcome. So I kind of feel like, oh, well, I know this movie now, and I know with the slow motion bullets and the gun action and all that stuff. I just feel like I've seen it before. It didn't feel fresh. Insofar as it being a video game adaptation, I kind of felt like video game adaptations, as we know, are really, really hard to do. We already know this movie came out. We were talking about this before we went to air, that this movie came out and didn't do well and wasn't particularly good. So it's interesting that they're deciding to remake it or redo it or reboot it or however you want to say it.
Well, it's a strange choice.
Yeah.
I think it's a strange choice. And when you look at some of the other films that Fox has done in the last few years that were trying to set up franchises that did actually make more money than the original film of this did, like the A-Team or Predators, and they dumped doing sequels on those. And to choose to do a sequel or a remake, essentially doing the same film that didn't work 5 years ago, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then the other thing was, from the trailer, did you get the idea that the Hitman is the villain in this one? He seemed almost like the Terminator, and that Zachary Quinto is kind of the hero. That's what I got from the trailer, which is completely different than, and that might be more closer to the video game, but
well, he's
it's
kind
much
of
different
ambiguous.
than the last film.
I got more ambiguous. Like, he's not good or bad. Like, because he's
It
genetically
seemed very
engineered.
Terminator, the way he's after it, but we can't stop him. He's, the way they explained it, it seemed a little Terminator.
I mean, it looks cool.
It's fine.
Well, I didn't see the 2007 one with Timothy Olyphant,
Right.
even though I'm a huge fan of
know
him
he's-
from
Yeah,
Deadwood and
yeah.
Justified, so I can't judge it on that. I actually liked this trailer. I thought it did what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to show over-the-top action, and as long as the director, who's his name's Alexander Bach, as long as he gets that and takes it, kind of like the Fast and Furious franchise, where they know what the tone is.
Right.
Let's just do that. If this tries to get too serious, where they're trying to make like it's a gripping drama,
Yes. Right.
then we got a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The one thing I noticed though with this director, I looked up him on IMDb. He has no credits other than this movie on there, which is strange. Even I have more credits than he does, and I don't have
be
them
so
all.
humble.
No, but I mean the thing is maybe they just didn't put it on there.
Yeah.
But for a first-time director to handle like a movie of this size, it's quite
huge.
interesting. I like Kieran Hines. Did you see Kieran Hines in it? He
yeah.
played Caesar
Yeah.
in Rome
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Mance Rayder in Game of Thrones.
Well, fans of Homeland, I mean, love him. He's got Rupert
He's
Friend.
great
I
at
haven't seen
Homeland.
it,
Yeah,
but
he's
but,
great. He's
I've heard
fantastic
great
in
things
Homeland.
about him. The other thing that's interesting about this movie is that it's releasing August 28th, which is at the very tail end of a season filled with summer blockbusters. It's kind of in that lull between summer blockbusters and award season.
But that could be a good time.
I think
for
it's
that.
I do think
Yeah.
it's a good idea because
there's never anything good in
and
September.
it's a straight up action thriller. Forget the fact that it's a reboot of another movie or that it's a video game is the source material. I think it's a good time for a movie like this to come out. So
yeah, I agree with you.
absolutely.
And then remember, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It came
Yeah.
out at I think it was mid-August or late
Yeah.
August, and it did pretty well.
oh yeah,
And
it exceeded expectations.
we're bound to get a good video game adaptation at one time. I don't know if this is the one.
Well, we haven't
but
yet, and it's
no.
been 10 or 15 years. So
Yeah.
when's that coming,
But you
Dennis?
remember with comic book movies and adaptations, they
No, it
early
took a long
on,
time.
they took
No,
a
you're
long
right.
time.
The first
yeah.
Captain America. I don't know if anyone
Yeah.
saw that piece
No,
of garbage.
Punisher with
but-
Dolph Lundgren? Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you
know.
did have the Richard Donner Superman, but then that was a long time between that
and
one.
Tim Burton's Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
So-
then there was a long time between Tim Burton's Batman and Bryan Singer's X-Men. So I
Exactly.
know what you're saying.
So
yeah.
hopefully we'll get one soon. Either it's this one or Warcraft or
I was saying
whatever.
earlier, I think the best video game movie to date isn't actually based on a video game, which is End of Tomorrow, because it's like being in a video game.
Yeah.
Like the way the movie is set up
Well,
is
it-
like a
yeah.
video game. I
It,
think
like,
that's the best
translates that
adaptation they've done.
experience,
Yeah.
Which they've renamed now.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Repeat.
But it's so confusing because it's on
Slash-
HBO this week and it's still End of Tomorrow, so I don't know what the title
Or All
is.
You Need Is Kill, which I thought was a great title.
It
I don't know
was.
why they
Oh,
changed
yeah, that was
it.
the original
I think it
one.
was
That
like
was good.
controversy,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
having that
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, let's move on to the buy or sell portion of our show. Sinead, what do we got?
The first trailer for the new Reese Witherspoon buddy comedy Hot Pursuit has been released. Witherspoon stars as a by-the-book Texas cop that must escort the widow of a drug boss, played by Modern Family's Sophia Vergara. Hot Pursuit opens in AMC theaters everywhere on May 8th. Jamie, buy or sell this trailer?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go sell. Not a huge fan of Reese Witherspoon, not a huge fan of Sophia. I love the genre, however. Like this is Midnight Run. This is my favorite buddy cop. Like it's great. Unfortunately, the trailer I felt a little more like The Heat and not so much like Midnight Run.
Yeah.
And I hated The Heat. So there was some funny gags in it. I actually really liked the running joke about Reese's height and Sophia's age. I thought that was the funniest part of the trailer. Other than that, I can't say that I'm really excited to go and see this movie.
Yeah, while I am a fan of Reese Witherspoon and Sophia Vergara from Modern Family, I do agree with you. I sell this trailer kind of for the same reasons. It has that feel of The Heat and Midnight Run, but at the same time, I didn't really laugh that much
Right.
throughout the
Yep.
trailer. Maybe they'll release another trailer and I'll find that funny, but I don't know. Miri?
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't laugh, and it's a sell for me. I do buy her T-shirt though, Butter My Biscuits. If anyone knows where I can find that, I'll totally wear it on the show. I love that T-shirt.
I'll wear it on the
I don't-
show.
I don't have the assets maybe of Sophia Vergara, but anyway,
There are 2,000 fanboys right now going on eBay trying to find that
Find
shirt
it for me,
you,
guys.
Mary.
I agree though. I sell it because it just didn't seem that funny, and I also am a fan of Reese Witherspoon, and I think she's a great comedic actress. Election is still my favorite
Yeah.
performance of hers, even though Wild is wonderful. She can handle drama. She can handle comedy. Sophia Vergara is a very seasoned comedian, even though people don't necessarily think of that when they see her because of Modern Family. And the gags, the physical gags are there, and Sophia does some crazy facial expressions and things, but I just feel like the sum wasn't equal of the parts, or whatever that
Seems
expression
like it's like a 90s buddy comedy.
Yeah, but not
Which
a
I'd
good
be
one.
okay with if it was a good one. I mean, the
Yes.
same thing with Cop Out. That was supposed to be,
Yeah.
you
that
know,
was not-
Good.
but it was supposed to be the
I was trying to be
classic,
nice.
but it was
Yeah.
Kevin's attempt at doing Midnight
Yeah.
Run, and it failed miserably. And I don't think this is going to have much more success.
All right, what's next?
An international trailer for the Ethan Hawke and Emma Watson thriller film Regression has come out. The movie is set in Minnesota during 1990, where Watson plays a daughter who accuses her father of an unspeakable crime, and Hawke plays a detective in charge of the investigation. The film is being helmed by director Alejandro Amenabar and comes to AMC theaters on August 28th. Dennis, buy or sell the trailer?
I'll buy it. I actually really hadn't heard much about this movie before, but I like the tone of it. I like Emma Watson and Ethan Hawke. It's a thriller. I don't know. It seems like it's like about a cult or a satanic cult or something like that.
Yeah.
The director what was his name? Amenbar. The only other movie I've seen of his is The Others, which I did like, and he did a lot of tension and mystery very well in that, and perhaps he can bring that to this. Miri?
Yeah, I love The Others as well. I actually really love that movie. I've watched it a few times. I thought it was one of the underrated movies that came out that year. But I like this cast. I do buy. Are we buying still?
Yes.
Are we buying
Yeah,
and
you can
selling?
buy if you
I'll
want.
buy this. I'll
If you have
buy it.
enough money.
I mean, I don't know if I have enough money, but I'll buy it. I like the cast, and I've kind of been really intrigued by Ethan Hawke more and more and more as the years have gone by, because he kind of stays outside the box. He'll do Sinister, and then he'll do Boyhood, and he's kind of mixing it up, and he's talented and he's smart. And Emma Watson is I'll watch her do anything. I'll watch her like open envelopes for an hour. I find her captivating. So I think this is going to be cool, and I like the fact that it's cult and not demon possession and not some of the more familiar tropes that we've seen in horror movies. It's a little bit off the beaten path, so I think that's kind of interesting.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, Ethan Hawke's great. I mean, Ethan Hawke's just fantastic. And I agree with you. He's really come into his own over the last 5 or 10 years. And I like her, and I liked The Others a lot. This isn't really my genre necessarily, so I'm a little hesitant. But I've definitely piqued my interest from the trailer, so I think I would be interested in seeing the movie. And I agree with you. I like that it's not demons, and it's something more tangible to us.
Much as we love seeing women crawling backwards on a ceiling, it would be nice to, break out of that.
There's a whole group of Cirque du Soleil actresses that are just out of work right now because they don't have that.
All right, guys, before we get into Mailbag, I want to let you guys know that Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is actually coming back to select AMC theaters in IMAX. Not this Saturday, not tomorrow, but the following Saturday, February 21st, we're going to have it at AMC theaters at 3 p.m. They're actually going to show the movie, and then after the movie, they're going to have 15 minutes of like never before seen footage as well.
Awesome.
Oh, very cool.
And in addition to that, if you buy a ticket, you get another ticket for free. So if you loved Interstellar and you had a friend that didn't see it, you can bring them along, and it doesn't cost them anything. Anyways, I'm going to post a link in the show notes so you can click on that for more details. So also a reminder that we're going to take live Twitter questions at the end of the show. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News. So let's get on to Mailbag, Sinead.
Isaiah Belcher writes, "Hey AMC, never miss a show. My question is about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They've both had great careers as actors, and Affleck is one of my favorite directors right now. But the thing that really launched them is Good Will Hunting and the Oscar they won for Best Screenplay. What happened to their writing career? How come neither of them really tried a writing career or teamed up again to write and have Affleck direct or something like that? Curious to hear what you guys have to say."
Miri? What do you think?
Oh, you want me to start this one? All right. Well, Jamie and I were talking about this. There are a lot of rumors that have gone around over the years about this script in particular, and whether or not or how much Ben and Matt had to do with the actual writing of the script. I'm not saying any of this is true, but there was rumors. I mean, Jamie knows. We were
So
talking
William
about this.
Goldman for years has alluded, the great screenwriter of Butch Cassidy's Sundance Kid and All the President's Men, has alluded to the fact that he claims that he wrote Good Will Hunting. Now, he's never said, I wrote Good Will Hunting or Matt Damon and Affleck, but he said in one of his books, or I read it somewhere, where he said, these two upstart actors from Boston came and gave me the script. He never said it by name, but pretty much has alluded to the fact that he helped write it. And I've heard rumors through the years that actually the original script of Good Will Hunting was an action film, where Will Hunt, the government finds out about Will Hunting's math abilities and are after him. And that script started to go around, and then they met with Mel Gibson, they met with Rob Reiner, they met with a lot of the directors, hot directors of that time, who maybe gave them some notes and helped them write it. So there's been lots of rumors over the years that they have or have not written it. That being beside the point, to the question of why haven't they written, Matt co-wrote the fracking movie, Promised Land.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which he actually co-wrote with John Krasinski rather than Ben Affleck.
And he was also in it.
But Gus Van Sant directed it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the follow-up to Good Will Hunting, only sans Ben and put in John Krasinski.
Yeah.
And then obviously Ben, while he hasn't written the movies he's directed, he's very involved in obviously directing. So I wouldn't go as far as to say oh, these guys
They're
made a
hacks.
career. Yeah, they made his career as screenwriters and then became. They were always actors
And super
they
talented.
happened to be lucky and write a great script or whatever happened and won the Oscar for it, and then they went off with their careers and continued to act. And Matt's done producing.
But you
and
don't have their careers.
He's doing directing.
Yeah, you don't have their careers if you're not talented.
No,
So,
absolutely
not.
not.
Maybe they had some help with their script and whatever, but it enabled them to enter the fray and basically be who they are now.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Have the careers they have
Yeah,
now, so.
absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've heard those same rumors about William Goldman, but I do know, and maybe he's getting paid a lot of money to like be quiet or something like that. But he writes the foreword to if you see the screenplay, if you buy the screenplay, he writes the foreword to it, and he says that he only helped them a little bit or something like that.
That story has changed and embellished
Yes,
over
I'm
the
sure.
years,
I'm
too.
sure.
Yeah.
But maybe he's getting a buttload of cash or something like
He
that.
seems like a bit of a bitter guy, William Goldman, from the stuff I've read
Yeah,
him
and-
say.
and
He's
rumors
not a
are
happy
rumors.
Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
Rumors are
Yeah,
rumors.
exactly.
But it's what you guys are saying. They never wanted to be screenwriters.
No.
What they want to do is be actors, and a lot of people, especially nowadays, what they're doing is they're writing their own stuff so they can star in roles that will help them get
I mean,
to
look at
another
Lena,
place.
Lena Dunham is a perfect example.
Exactly.
You know?
And then Jon Favreau, he wrote Swingers.
Favreau, yeah,
just so he could get.
absolutely.
Then now he's more into directing now. Jason Segel, Judd Apatow told him to write a script, and so he wrote Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That launched. I mean, people knew him already, but he took the next level.
Let's not forget Vin Diesel.
Oh.
Vin Diesel
Riddick?
has a career because he wrote and directed his own film, got into Sundance,
Yeah.
Spielberg
Oh, yeah,
saw
that's
it,
right,
and
that's
put him in
right,
Saving Private Ryan. So
Yeah,
it
there's
can help anyone.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. Another reason why, and that's
If
why.
Vin Diesel can do it, so can you.
All right, what's next?
Roman RBC writes, do you believe that crime dramas can return to their prominence? Back in the day, they constantly dominated the silver screen, and nowadays it feels like most crime dramas aren't original by any means. They aren't as exciting or as exhilarating as they used to be. Why do you think that this is? Have all the good ideas been taken? I know Dennis loves crime dramas just as much as me, so I would love to hear his take on it.
Yeah, I think they aren't as popular anymore, but I mean, it's not like the Western where it's like it's
Right.
totally
Where it's dead.
Yeah, I mean the Westerns aren't dead,
No,
but they're
that was
yeah.
the thing they said for years and years that they were
Yes.
dead, which they're not. I don't think any genre is dead. I think they're cyclical. They come and they
Yeah.
go, and yeah, we haven't had great things like the '80s, like Thief and then Heat and those movies. But I mean, listen, Nightcrawler was a hell of a crime drama, and Drive is one of the best I think ever made. So I think it's still possible.
Still possible, and some of my favorites over the last decade or so have been like City of God, A Prophet, which is a French film, and then Lawless. I really like.
Yeah,
So-
Lawless was great.
I love Hillcoat.
So there's movies that are, but they're not super popular. Then you have things like Gangster Squad or Public Enemies that bomb.
Right, and then
at the
people
bo-
see that as that's the crime drama.
Yes.
And yeah.
And so-
Constant Gardener's another great one.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I think you're right that it's cyclical, and I also think the box office dynamic has changed. Superhero films and franchises are taking a bigger piece of the pie. But I do agree that there's always going to be room for crime dramas, and there's always going to be good ones and bad ones, like any genre. I love crime dramas, and I do think there was a golden age in the 70s when they were just,
Well, you had the French Connection, and you had the conversation.
And those, just Gene Hackman. Just put Gene Hackman in.
Put Gene Hackman in anything.
I'll watch him in
Exactly.
anything, and westerns too, by the way. But I love crime dramas, and I'd like to see them return to popularity. But there's also so many ways for movies to be distributed now. So crime dramas are typically, I'm feeling, being made more in other countries, like you're quoting, like City
Well,
of God.
yeah, I
and-
mean, England, British crime genre, it's its own genre,
Yeah.
that type of film. And there have been some really good ones. The Sweeney was one I really
Sexy
liked.
Beast.
A couple, Sexy Beast, both with Ray Winston.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah.
All right, what's next?
Paige Myers writes, hey AMC crew, what are your favorite movies that feature a sociopath or psychopath? Some that come to mind are Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, Amy Dunn in Gone Girl, or Lou Bloom in Nightcrawler. Thanks.
Mine would probably be Alex from A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Great call, Dennis.
One of my favorite movies ever, and along with Full Metal Jacket, one of my favorite Kubrick movies. Yeah, that movie, even though I love it so much, it's a hard movie to watch.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Because of how violent, the ultra violence that, in it, it's just.
Well,
yeah.
McDowell is so, I mean, he looks possessed in the
Yeah.
movie,
And how can you listen to Singing in the Rain without thinking of that one
No, it's
scene
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
anymore. So what are you guys'?
Oh, well, I mean, absolutely with Nightcrawler, as I mentioned before. I thought Jake did a great job with that character, and also Driver X. I know I mentioned before, but in Drive, Ryan Gosling's character. But then going back, and I was actually, when I saw Nightcrawler, it reminded me of 2 De Niro performances, which of course were Travis Bickle in
Yes.
Taxi and Rupert Pumpkin in
King of
King of
Comedy.
Comedy. So those are pretty good.
Those are great
sociopaths
calls.
right there. And well, and then of course Daniel Day-Lewis. I Drink Your Milk.
Oh yeah, I will
I mean,
drink it up.
I'll drink it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that guy,
Love him.
or as you know, I mean you
Daniel
can pick Daniel
Plainview.
Day-Lewis in almost any movie.
This is my
but
son,
yeah.
H.W.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
exactly.
is it C.W.? I don't remember.
Gangs of New York.
God, this is a great question. I could answer this question all day because there have been so many wonderful psychopaths and sociopaths. One that has a supernatural twist that's also one of my favorite movies, also a Kubrick movie, is The Shining. Jack Nicholson. I mean, and you know that it's maybe induced from demons and maybe not his own internal psychosis, but I think
Right.
you have to have like a genetic predisposition to being, overtaken by demonic forces. So we'll give him that. I also think Hannibal Lecter is one of the greats.
course.
I actually just mentioned him on the show the other day, but Anthony Hopkins is terrifying, but also you kind of root for him, which is an incredible thing to do when you play a sociopath. He's such a wonderful actor. God, there's so many. I could go on all day.
Well, and we could say how could we forget Heath Ledger and Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heath
as the
Ledger's
Joker.
great.
Yeah, I mean Joker is the quintessential sociopath. So,
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for Mailbag. Now on to the live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News, and Sinead will pick out a few for us to answer. Sinead, what do we got?
Edgar tweets, "Hey guys, wondering if you have had any information on the upcoming The Last of Us film."
No, I mean, there were talks
On the
that
upcoming one, I didn't hear.
Last of
of
Us,
Us.
the
Video
video
game.
games.
Yes, okay, okay.
I had heard they were talking to Maisie Williams
Yeah.
is possibly playing the little girl.
I think that was the last news though, because I haven't heard it, and that was like in the fall or. in
And
the
was that
summer.
locked
Yeah.
down at all?
I don't
or
know
was that
if
was
it
just
official.
talks?
I think
It was
that
a
was
rumor.
Yeah, I don't know that it became official. Definitely talks.
Interesting question though, because I was thinking about it this morning when I read the show notes, because we were talking about video game adaptations, and that's actually one, if they do it right, that could actually be great, because the video game is so great. So we'll
Yeah, it
see.
could be really cool.
That doesn't actually mean anything. I take that back. Great video games often don't make great movies, but I
But
have
it has
high
a story
hopes.
behind it,
Yeah,
so at
and
least it has
it's-
something to work
Well,
with.
it all
Exactly.
starts with the source material.
Yeah,
So if the source
yeah.
material is not anything that's going to interest anyone, then you're not going to
Well,
have a movie. So
I liked playing Prince of Persia. I don't know if I felt the same way about seeing
No,
the
that movie was terrible.
no, yeah.
All right, what's next?
Sebastian tweets, "Is Rob Pattinson's Lawrence of Arabia or Angelina Jolie's Cleopatra still going ahead?"
I think Angelina's is, from what I know.
So far, I mean, I don't think it's got an official green light, but it looks pretty.
I think they're in
It
development.
looks
on
pretty
though.
positive.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
would say that that's farther along than
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
movie.
Well, I didn't hear about this Robert Pattinson Lawrence of Arabia.
No, that's news to me too. I think this guy's just making it up.
Yeah, I haven't read that.
You're talking about one of my favorite movies of all time. One that usually I don't say, oh, you shouldn't remake it, but that's a movie you shouldn't
That's
remake.
a tough one. I mean, that's like remaking The Godfather.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you do
exactly.
it? How do you
Yeah,
do it?
or Gone with the Wind, or one of those movies
Yes.
that's it's like so iconic for being so singular. I mean,
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia, and it's long and it's an epic, but it's slow moving and it's beautiful. I
Well, I
just
mean,
don't
here's
know
the thing.
how.
I don't know how you would remake it now because Hollywood doesn't make that type of movie anymore.
That's it.
That and
No
a
one's
lot of
gonna
money.
sit. I mean, sit through a 15-minute intermission where it just says intermission on the
And with
screen.
the
there's an
music, with the
orchestra
music
playing.
score, yeah.
There's no human being in the United States right now that's going to sit through 3 hours.
And
No,
then you
they'll
get
go get it.
the
There's
the
no-
whole
yeah, right.
the,
They'll go get
the
more
big crowd
popcorn.
shots they would use CGI for the
Yeah.
horses and
yeah,
the people.
it's just
and
not
stuff.
going
I
to look the
don't
same.
But it won't feel as grand. I don't.
But I
think.
will say about Robert Pattinson, I just saw Cronenberg's Maps of the Stars. He's
yeah.
great in it. It's a
Okay.
great
I
movie,
wanna
and
see
he's
that so
very good
badly.
in it. Yeah, he's very good in it. So
All right, what's next?
Dexter tweets, "What is a film that makes all of you stand up and go, 'What the hell was that?'"
Oh my God. 50 Shades of
like
Grey.
in a good way or a bad way?
I don't know, but I guess in the. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Like, is it the kind of question where it's like, wow, what just happened? This was so abstract and it did my head in, or like, wow,
Well,
that
I
was
didn't watch
bad?
the whole movie, but I saw parts of. Speaking of Cronenberg, Crash.
Right, yeah.
Not the Crash that won the Academy
Yeah,
Award, but
no,
his
no, no,
Crash.
no, right, it was
and
Spader,
I was like,
James Spader.
what is that?
Yeah,
you
with
know?
Deborah Kara Unger.
And that's in a good
who I
way,
love.
yeah. I mean, I would say the same about, and I was telling you earlier, the most fun I've had in a movie theater this year was seeing The Boy Next Door, the Jennifer Lopez movie. And that's not that it's because it's a great movie. It is great because it's so just ridiculous and sort of purposely whatever it is, it is. So I enjoyed that. And then the other one was there was a movie that Paul Haggis directed. It came out last year. I always forget the title, but James Franco was in it, Maria Bello, Mila Kunis.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
had this
Other
Liam
people
Neeson,
have mentioned that same
Liam
one.
Neeson and Olivia Wilde, a huge cast. And I have never been in a screening before in my life where the movie ends and literally the guy behind me, who I didn't know, leans over me and says, "What did we just see? I don't understand what happened at all." And there was literally a conversation in the parking lot with me and like 5 other members of the press for about a half hour afterwards,
Trying to unpack
deconstructing
it.
this movie, trying to go, what did we see? What was happening? Who was real? So it was a mess, but I guess in a bad way, that was one.
Miri?
I don't know. I feel like the movie I always think about when we talk about films that kind of smack you across the face and leave you feeling completely gobsmacked in a good way is Jacob's Ladder. Because I remember seeing it when I was much younger and not expecting the twist to be what it was and just being completely just gobsmacked. Like I just didn't even know, in a great way, I thought it was so effective. And I haven't seen it in a long time, but I always think that that was the first movie that kind of left me feeling like, what? I think Memento, the first time you see it, has that quality
Yeah.
where you walk out and you're like, this is just, I've never seen this. And it's not that it's entirely original, but you just, it's so inventive in the way the story's told and the way things unfold. And it leaves you feeling and thinking about the movie for, many, many hours or days even after. So that's another one that left me kind of going, wow. Maybe not so much what just happened, but I don't know, maybe being impressed by the ingenuity of it. I don't know. It's a good question.
I felt the same way after Fight Club when I saw Fight
I was
Club.
going to say Fight Club.
Fight Club's a great one.
Whoa, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the
absolutely,
hell?
because
That was
you
awesome.
have to wrap your mind around what
Fight
you
Club's
just
a
saw
great
and
one.
what just happened.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
William Parcell tweets, do you think that them making Captain America about Civil War kind of shafts Cap out of a proper ending to his trilogy?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I
because we
don't
haven't
know.
seen it, so we don't know
We
how
don't
much
really
of.
know.
Is this the seeds of Civil War? Is it going to be the entire thing?
Well, and now with Spider-Man, it seems like it's going to be less of the seeds and more of
The actual-
Because
yeah.
if he's going to be in there, they have to wind him in through the way they want him in the comic book. But I agree. I think there is going to be more seeds, with the exception of the Spider-Man inclusion. But we know that Bucky's in it. We know that, Bucky. We know that the Winter Soldier is in it. We know that Peggy in some form is going to be there. So it depends. I mean, there is a way I think you could do Civil War and still have closure to Steve Rogers' story. And in fact, without any spoilers, Civil War does end with closure to Steve Rogers' stories, the comic book. Whether they're going to adapt that in the movie or not,
I think they're going to change it up.
I would
Yeah.
almost
I think
guarantee
that's
you
it,
they
yeah.
will. But my point is there is closure to Captain America in Civil War, the comic book.
In the
So
source material.
there's in the source material. So I'm sure they can find a way to have closure for that character in the movie. And I do not think it'll be the last time that you see Chris Evans as Captain America. So
Well, yeah, he has like a 7-picture contract,
Right,
so
and
I'm
he's
sure
only done,
they're
like,
gonna,
3 of them.
yeah, they're gonna definitely utilize him. That's why I think they are gonna change the ending from the comic
Yeah, I
books
think
to
so,
the
too.
movie. But I also think that he is moving on to directing, and as a personality and as a celebrity, he's kind of
Mm-hmm.
on to other things, Chris Evans, and I don't think he wants to necessarily be entrenched in so much Captain America
I
for the
agree.
rest of his life or for the next 10 years. So I don't necessarily think he would mind all that much if the final film in the trilogy of Captain America is also setting up a new era for Marvel and for all these
Right.
characters. Like, I don't know that he's like nuts, you
no,
know?
we
I
have
think
heard
he's,
we have heard rumors that he's looking to get
think
out of
he's-
it.
I think he's
sooner
tired
than later.
from-
Yeah, I
of
think
it.
so too.
Well, at least it's not as much overshadowing as Batman v Superman, because that's
Yeah.
like the
No.
Superman sequel, and then now it's Batman v
That's a
Superman.
whole other story.
Where this
That's
one-
a Superman sequel that became a Justice
Yes.
League prequel.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
Where this, at least the title is still Captain America:
Right,
Civil War,
right.
and
And
Captain
Cap
America,
is the lead in the comic book.
him
It's
and
Cap
Iron Man, yeah.
and so it makes
with
sense.
Spider-Man in the middle.
I mean, I think it's a little disingenuous to call it. I mean, they should have just said we're making a Civil War movie. But if you want to tie it into Captain America 3, that's the perfect franchise of all of them to tie it into.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also can't say that we're making a Civil War movie for people that don't read any of the comics and don't even know what Civil War is necessarily. I think
Right.
they kind of have to have the Captain America name in there for the millions of fans around the world that love the movies but maybe never
But
read
don't
the
know
comic
who
books.
Civil War is. Yeah, it's true.
All right, that's it for today. I want to thank the people at the table joining me. Jamie, where can people find you online?
So please check out my website, iamrogue.com. We're also on Twitter at iamrogue and on Facebook. And I also, if I can give one more plug, tonight if you're in Los Angeles, come down to the Sundance Theater on Sunset. 7 7:30, 8 o'clock, there's a screening for Hits. That's David Cross's new movie. And I'll be moderating a Q&A with actor Matt Walsh afterwards. So check it out.
And Miri, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the social medias at Miri the Jedi.
And our host, Sinead, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sinead DeFries and on Facebook and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on Instagram, Dennis.tzeng. I want to thank you guys for joining us for this Friday edition of AMC Movie Talk. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/AMC Theaters, and see you guys next week.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.